Welcome back to Fitna. So this is scenario 2, turn 1. I've not dealt out the cards yet, so I already explained how the scenario, the situation. So I didn't explain turn order. It's going to be Syria, Syrian rebels, and then Iraq. So that's going to be the turn order for the 3. I haven't dealt out cards yet. I'm going to do that now. So Syria is going to take 1 event and 3 assets. There's a decent chance of a lot of combat. The rebel player is going to take 2 and 2 because they want to try to get some reinforcements on board, but need some combat power. And Iraq is going to also take 2 and 2 because they need to try to get some reinforcements, but they may want to push against Daesh a little bit in some areas, so they're going to take 4. And now we'll jump right into the start. So let's see, what did Syria get? So they get counterinsurgency, cancels the effect of any Daesh cards during this turn. They're probably going to want to play that just because they don't have a Daesh card themselves. So they're going to want to do that just to prevent any shenanigans coming their way from either of the other players who would want to try to damage them. They could also use they could use the Peshmerga to grab some Kurdish units and maybe push against, could try maybe pushing towards Deir ez-Zor. Potentially not a bad move there. Could bring some guys up near the KDP and try to damage Mosul, but I don't think that doesn't necessarily help them either, so they might just use that for points. But then anyway, we have mobile artillery and no retreat. So if we were to use, say, this for 4 points, I feel like they definitely want to try to damage the rebels a little bit, just to try to get them out of the way. But they don't have a whole lot of forces on hand to do that necessarily. I mean, they can use it somewhat. They can push in a couple areas, potentially do some damage, but they're not going to be able to do like a huge amount. But we can do a little bit of attacks. Might want to consider pulling this guy out of Palmyra, maybe. Maybe not that, but they can push into Bir Basan. They want to gain a little bit of wiggle room here. Yeah, okay. Well, what we're going to do, we're going to play counterinsurgency. So there's not going to be any Daesh cards at all. No Daesh. No Daesh. And then we're going to do Peshmerga for 4. We're going to allocate, I think, just 1 for movement, maybe. Yeah, we can move a little bit of guys around. We don't want to move too much just because we're going to need to keep the space occupied so that rebels can't spawn. I think we're just going to do 1 for movement. Oops. 1 for movement and 3 for combat. 3 offensives. So let's do movement. Okay, we can move 2 guys. We're going to move the Hezbollah unit and the 1st Armored Division to Palmyra. That makes sense. Can kind of beef up that area. And then we got 3 offensives. So first one I think is a good idea. Or at least a okay idea, is we're going to throw the 4th Armored and the Republican Guard Division into Bir Basan. Okay, this is a strong ISIS unit. All right. Well, so defense value of 4. And then we have 8 plus 6. Okay, but zoom up a little bit. Let me just adjust the camera slightly. Okay, so we have a 8 plus a 6 to make a 14 against 4, so it's a plus 10. Now, I don't. Now, we can see if anyone else wants to play. Let's just look at their asset cards real quick. So let's see. Does the Syrian Rebel want to play a card to support the Daesh, if they even have one? Okay, can't play this guy. They could play IEDs, which should give a -2 to the column shift. And with the at a +10, it would drop them down to the 2 to 4, which would give a higher possibility of doing some more damage. So it might be something they want to consider. Let's see, what does the Iraqi player have? He has mobile artillery and close air support, so he wouldn't. So the Iraqi player wouldn't be able to play something even if he wanted. And I think the Rebel player is not going to use an IED on this combat. It's not that important. Even if it damages them, it's not necessarily going to do much. I guess it could, in theory, slow them down if they got a heavy exchange and damage both of them, but there's no guarantee that'll happen anyway. So we are just going to let it resolve. Is the Syrian player going to play anything? No. They think +10 odds are good enough. They're just going to roll. They rolled a 5, which is going to be a defender retreat roll. Now there's only the one step, so that one step is going to be destroyed, and the Syrians successfully occupy Bir Bassam. Okay, got 2 more offensives to launch. I think we think we could try 7, potentially against 4. We do have cards to play, at least 1. Or I think they might do that to see if they can maybe even try to get the Syrian Rebel player to play a card. So we're going to push against Kintiara. We're going to push with a Hezbollah unit to maybe absorb a blow, plus the 7th Armored. We're not going to bring in this brigade because I don't want to leave that occupied if they by chance, unoccupied rather, if they by chance force them out and allow the Rebel player, who may have a reinforcement card, to build troops back there and cut off my guys. So we're just going to do this. Terra. So yeah, 4 defense value, no terrain modifier. So we're at a +3. Are they going to play? Well, first off, is the Rebel player going to play IEDs or close air support? Not for this one. This particular square, not that important. We still have another one, even if they... Now, if they have to retreat, they would lose both those Sunni militia. Or 1 Al-Sham, 1 Sunni. Which isn't great. But let's see. On a +3, the chances aren't amazing. They're going to say they're not going to deploy anything. The Syrian player decides they're not going to deploy anything. They want to save the mobile artillery for Idlib. So we're just going to roll it and see what happens. And they roll a 1. Well, that's not going to do great. Attacker retreat. So Hezbollah units will take a reduction, and they will retreat back. All right, 2 more offensives to do. We are not going to press the attack anymore up there. Let's go up north to Idlib. So we have the Special Forces and the 9th Armored Division, so they're going to attack into Idlib. So there's 3, 7, 9, no defense bonus, so it's going to be a +3. So do they? Sorry, 3. Yeah, sorry, 7. Wait. Yeah, 7. I mean, versus 12. Yeah, I don't know what I was. Okay. So it's not a +3. Sorry, that's a +5. I did my suddenly realized I did math way wrong. So sorry, +5. Okay. Are the Are they going to do something? Yes, I think they're going to play, look at the wrong card, IEDs. And I think if we use IEDs, that's a 2-column shift on the defense, and it plays for that whole space, which I think is going to be useful for denying the ability for the why am I spacing on what I'm saying? Denying the Syrian Assad regime from attacking. So with that, it's going to drop them down to a -1, which is not good. So the Syrian player will play mobile artillery to gain the +2 back, so that they're back into the +5 range, so they can hopefully have a 50% chance here of taking the space. All right, so let's do a roll. And they rolled a 6. So they rolled, that is a defender retreat. So the rebel player is going to take 1 step loss. They'll take it on the Al-Sham militia, and then they have to retreat. Now, let me see here. I don't think they have a spot to retreat to, because Aleppo is full, and your Blues is occupied by ISIS. There's nowhere else for them to go, which I believe means these units are destroyed, which is a very tough break for the Syrian rebels here. It's not great. Losing 3 units from this one attack, because they should have used close air support instead. Oof. Okay, well, that's a space that's being occupied now, which means that Hama will end up getting isolated next turn if something doesn't give. The IEDs is now playing against them. It's not great. Not great at all for the Syrian rebels. And with that, we go to the... Let's see, that was actually 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that was 3. 3 offensives. So now we go to strategic movement. Is there a single unit that we want to move somewhere? Yeah, I think we will move the... let's move the 4th Armored Division up to Idlib. Yeah, that'll help get ready for potentially more offensive actions here. Adjust cards. We're going to draw 1 asset card and 2 event cards for the Syrian player. They want to try to get some reinforcements now and really seal this. And they don't. They end up getting... Well, they did get the coup in Syria card, which is important to not let anyone else have that. That could be a problem. So that was a good call, getting 2 instead of 1. Okay, thought about it for a second. Okay, so that's the end of their turn. Next up, we go to the Syrian rebel turn, and they have 3 cards. They have Euphrates Shield, excuse me. And then they also have the Daesh card, which is useless now because of counterinsurgency. So that was a good call by the Syrian player. Now, we could use this potentially here to immediately get rid of this ISIS unit, Yarbalis, and just be done with it. But I don't know if that might be kind of a waste. We could also get a +1 on the international tension track, which might be worth it to escalate things. Is it worth the Syrian rebel player to escalate things? I'm actually not sure if it is. I don't know, because that would unlock quite a bit of things that the Iraqi and the Syrian player can do with Russian and US intervention. So I don't think it's actually worthwhile for them to push it harder. I think instead what we should do is just, it might even be worth just saving it. Or definitely use the Daesh card for 4. Or saving that might be a good idea too. Oh, So we could just use it next turn. Oof. You know, this can't be played on turn 1 anyway. So I think we'll just use that for the 6 points. With that, we will... Is the 6 points even useful? I don't think they really are. What? Well, we could strike it. Yibble-Druze. That's not a bad move. We don't need to use all 6 necessarily. I just realized these two are connected, so Hama's not going to be cut off, actually. Could push towards Homs and try to do some damage. Excuse me. We could try to even strike at Aleppo and do some damage, but that seems unlikely, just given the high defensive value. Even with the even with the 3 shift from close air support, it's not a great fight. And we have IEDs there, so that's not good. There's really not a lot of great options. We could try to open up Yarbalus or Araka. I mean, that might be a better option, just to have territory to retreat to. No, even that's not great. Oof, this is really tough for the Syrian Rebel player. Okay. So we need the Daesh card to apply pressure to the other side of Syria. No, okay. We are going to... I really just don't see any good reason to do much of anything, to be honest. The only thing that's somewhat worthwhile is attacking Yibble-Druze. So, you know what? In light of that, I'm going to use the, what's it called? There's a rule for basically you can not play a card to move 2 units and gain 1 offensive. I can't remember what it's called. I think it's Supply Depot or something. I'm actually going to use that, and I'm going to try it. I'm going to use it. So to move 1 unit here, I'm not going to move anything else. And then our 1 offensive is going to be these 3 pushing onto Yibble-Druze. So 3, 5, 7, minus 1 makes it 6 against 3, so it's a +3. And is the Syrian player going to use anything? It's not really particularly useful to do there, honestly, so we're just going to leave it at a +3. I think we're just going to do it. We're not going to bother with playing the close air support. Probably a good move because we rolled a 6. So we just defend a retreat anyway. So that unit, the Syrian unit here, is destroyed. Good for them. And with that, Yibble-Druze is occupied. Strategic movement. Move 1 militia unit up there. And I think that's going to be it for them. They will draw 1 asset card. Chemical weapons, nice to use over there. Next up, we have the Iraqi player. Let's see, what do they have? We have no military and close air support, which I already knew. UAVs. Okay, that's not particularly useful for us. And the Peshmerga. Well, the Peshmerga could be useful here because we can get some pressure off of us from Daesh. So I think we will, in fact, use Peshmerga. We're going to use Peshmerga now. I'm going to also back up. Okay, back up. Let's move a little bit more towards the Iraqi side. Peshmerga down for a second. Come on. Come on, come on. There we go. This thing just doesn't want to. If I have to raise it instead. Sorry for anyone on the other side of this. Okay, that works okay, even though you can't quite see the numbers, but you can kind of see vaguely what's going on. Anyway, Peshmerga, so we get to reinforce KDP units here. Yeah, okay, both mobile units are here, so we're gonna reinforce both of them. And then if we have 4 points to work with, so we'll put 1 for movement, 3 for offensives, because I don't see any other reason to really do anything else. Yeah. Pretty much. So then we'll move KDP 1, okay? And then we're gonna attack into Mosul. So there's not really a good reason to not do so. It's just Kurds. We don't really care about them for Iraq. Sad but true. So we have, and we're gonna get some intelligence on what we're dealing with. So what do we have here? Okay. We have, unfortunately, many good ISIS units. Okay, so we have a total of 8 attack, defensive 4, then 10, 13, defensive 13. So it's a minus 5. So not great, not a great attack at all. But oh, it's actually worse than that. It's minus 7 because we have minus 2 from Mosul. Well, it still keeps us on the same chart anyway. So we want to roll a 5 or a 6, really, so we can do some damage to the ISIS forces. They're at least 1 step only, so let's see. And we did get a 5, so we get an exchange. So at the very least, we get each one loses a step, that's good, actually good for what we want as the Iraqi player. So KDP go down 1. You know what, now that I think about it, I don't recall ever seeing how ISIS losses are chosen, since it's not a player. Let me see what that said, if it explained that anywhere, because I don't actually remember if I read that. Let me just go to the ISIS page. ISIS counters, yep. Right. It does not actually say. I'm going to assume that, since it doesn't actually say, that the person attacking them can choose where the loss goes. So with that in mind, I'm going to choose to destroy this. I could damage El Balgadi, which is good, but it doesn't actually do as much damage in immediacy as destroying this unit does. So we're gonna do that. And then go back. Okay. Now we're gonna launch immediately a second offensive. So that's gonna be 4 defense versus I suppose there's no point to do that since I was gonna do it again. So it's once again so this is gonna be minus 5. So it's gonna be rolling on the same table. So once again we want a 5 or 6. No, so this time we end up with a attack or retreat. So we'll take another loss on the Kurds and then pull back. Which really, let's see, be at minus, attacked again, we'd just be at minus 7, be No, it would be 2 against -2. No, we'd be at the lowest table, which would require a 6 to do anything worthwhile. I mean, you know what? It's not our units, so why not? Oh, that was a good call because we got it. Okay, so one unit there is gone, and we'll destroy one ISIS truck. And with that, it's I think it for the Kurdish militia. I'm just gonna put them by the. Oh no, wait, I forgot they do have their own box. Okay. Huh. That was actually ended up going very well. Cool. So with that in mind, we got what else are we gonna do with Iraq's turn? The UAVs are really not useful, so we are going to use them for 4 points. And we might have at least one offensive, but yeah, we'll probably have one here towards Fallujah. But I think we're gonna put 3 points for movement because we really need to reinforce some of these areas. So 3 for movement and then 1 for one offensive. So we are going to move, we can move 6 units total. And we'll get 1 strategic move at some point here. I think we need to move this guy back to Babadook, whatever. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Strategic movement phase. Probably militia unit up to Uqayyab after that. And then we're going to launch an offensive. Our one offensive is going to be towards Fallujah. Yeah, we're going to put it towards Fallujah. One ISIS dummy, and then 2 these truck technical units of the dummy is immediately gone. So that's not a lot we have to deal with there, that's good. We have 4 defense value, and a -1 to our attack because it's Fallujah is like basically an urban hex for all intents and purposes, or rough. We have 6 plus 8, 14, plus 5, 19, 18, -4, so plus 14. That's a pretty good one. I don't think, does Syria have a card they could play? They could play Kayushas, but that's attack, oh no, they can't. That's attack only for Daesh, so no, they can't. Is the rebel player gonna play anything for Daesh? They could play chemical weapons, maybe, yep, attack or defense, but it does raise the, international tension, but I think we want to try to prevent the Iraqi player from getting momentum. So we are, we are actually going to play the chemical weapons card. So that's going to bring it down from the -14 to the +5 to +7, and it's going to raise international tension to level 2. And since that's happening, the Iraqi player will use, I think they want to use close air support to bring it back to the full +14, +17, or just, no. I think they're going to use the mobile artillery card, so it's a 2 shift, and that way they're going to be rolling back on the 11 +13. So a 1 and a 2 would not be ideal. Everything else is good. All right. And they end up getting a 6, so that was probably a good DS. Actually would have been fine even on the other one. But anyway, yeah, Defender Shattered. So but all the ISIS units are in fact eliminated. And we have moved up towards there. Baghdad may be empty, but it seems unlikely that a offensive would be able to get to them, which might be foolhardy, but I think that's probably fair. I mean, I guess I could, I was originally going to strategic move unit up back to Nukhaya, but maybe I'll actually instead strategic move. I'm going to strategic move the 17th Special Forces Division from Basra to Baghdad, just to cover all bases there. And then we're going to draw cards. We'll draw 2 events and an asset. So they draw another, close air support, another, that's cool. Then they also got these other, they got the intelligence network card, and then an Israeli-Lebanese war. Interesting, okay. Might be useful to damage Syria a bit and keep the rebels occupied over there. That seems pretty good. All right, so that's gonna end turn 1. That was a long one to get through all 3. Hopefully it'll go a little faster now. Let me remove the IED chip. So not a whole lot of territory changing hands, mostly just things moving. That getting rid of that dace card, or rather stopping that dace card from getting played, I think definitely slowed things down, which is probably beneficial for the Syrian and Iraqi players. So we'll see how it goes in turn 2. Thanks for watching.